Alrighty. Well, I think we should go ahead and get started. So for those of you who are on the call who don't know me, I'm Lauren Nye. I'm the president of Kennesaw PRSSA. One more time, y'all, okay, if I show y'all again, because I know you can't be seen on screen. So we've got all these wonderful people in the room today. Oh, all right. So just so you can kind of see who all's in the room. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So currently we have two wonderful alumni here to join us today to talk to us about their experience as PR majors at Kennesaw State and what they're doing in the field now. So let's go ahead and get into it. Just whichever one of y'all want to start first, please just kind of introduce yourself and tell us what you're currently doing in the world of PR.
Aquila, go ahead.
It is Aquila. There
Aquila,
is a
I'm
key.
so sorry.
It is Latin for eagle. I chose it because it's a nod to my time at the 101st, the Screaming Eagles. My name is Aquila. I was previously a public affairs NCO in the U.S. Army, stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I got out, and then several years later, I decided to major in public relations at Kennesaw State because I had that experience and I really enjoyed it.
My name is Beth Findley. This is per my thing, but I just got married, so last name change. But I am, thanks guys. I'm working at International Medical Technologies. So I'm in the ophthalmology field, which I just never, that's another question on there. I never expected I'd be in, but it's a manufacturing company that creates medical devices, and I am their communications director. So yeah, I do a lot of integrated marketing and things that I did not expect I would be doing, but we'll get into that more later.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank y'all so much. It's super, super exciting. Okay, so just go ahead and tell us what made you want to major in PR. Oh, also real quick, this meeting is recording. Is that okay with y'all? We're planning to post it on YouTube.
Totally.
Wonderful. Okie dokie. So yeah, what made y'all want to major in PR?
Beth, I'm going to punt to you because I'm responding to my boss.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So actually, funny story. I hated math so much. I was like, what is something that has a little bit of business experience, but more communication based? So I was freaking out to my advisor. I was at Georgia Highlands getting my associate's degree. And they were like, are you excited about, going into business and being in a business management degree, whatever? And I was like, I don't want to take the math classes that I have for next semester. And she's like, well, have you thought of public relations? And so I looked into it a little bit more and immediately changed my major because it was so cool. It combined like a lot of creativity that I just didn't really see in business and a lot more communication. So that's why I wanted to be a PR major.
Hey, Aquila, are we still responding to the boss?
Just finishing that up.
No, I was just gonna say it's like we get to see what you're doing like real time. So
I spend most of my time in meetings, which is not what I was expecting. I do a lot of relationship management, personality management, understanding personality types and how they may disagree or not mix well is really a big part of my job. Just this afternoon, I was fielding a call from Bloomberg News because they were including information about my candidate in an article. So I'm doing a lot of things, not a lot of public relations right now, but I'm managing our social media team. I'm managing our volunteer director. I'm stepping into the space of a political director. I'm wearing a lot of different hats, and I have to be available pretty much 24/7. Thankfully, nothing bad has happened, but I anticipate with the current political climate, I imagine that I'm going to be putting my crisis comms skills to good use before November 8th.
right. And Aquila, forgive me, did you tell us what candidate you're repping?
Oh, I did not. I'm the press secretary for Antonio Daza. He's running for Congress in the 11th Congressional District, which does include Kennesaw.
Okay, awesome. Great. Well, it sounds like y'all are doing some pretty awesome stuff. Okay, so go back to when you were in school, not too long ago. What were some of your favorite classes that you took and or classes that prepared you for your current career?
All right, I'll take this one. My all-time favorite class, big surprise, was crisis comms. And that really had to do with the fact that I had the unfortunate occurrence of actually getting crisis communications experience before I even set foot in a classroom for PR. When I was in the Army, I wound up taking point after we had an Apache crash in someone's front yard off post after hours. And I did a lot of media prep for that. And then we really had tragedy strike when one of our soldiers was kidnapped and murdered by two guys that happened to be in my platoon. So I did media preparation for that. I was a liaison between brigade and division public affairs. So I was wearing a lot of hats that were way senior than my pay grade, but it had to be done. And I was dealing with officers that really weren't equipped for the task. What was the other part of the question?
So were there any classes in particular that you felt like prepared you for your career? But it sounds like crisis comm, though different timing, sounds like crisis comm was kind of in your realm.
Yeah, I had a great time. I was actually in that class with Beth. It was good times. Say again?
I said I love that class too. That was one of my favorites. I was going to mention that one.
Who did y'all take it with?
Dr. V.
Dr. V. Okay.
I really recommend that one with Dr. Vizcarrondo. He injects enough of a sense of humor into it, because if you don't keep your humor in a crisis situation, you're in real trouble. And I can actually say that with, eyes wide open. Classes that actually prepared me for what I'm actually doing was probably PR cases and media relations. So those tie together in that I understand, with PR cases, I understand the media landscape and how people are likely to react given certain situations, so I can help steer my candidate clear of those issues or navigate him through that as we try and bring him to victory. Media relations, understanding what journalists need, what they want, and how to get it to them in the best manner without disturbing their workflow, absolutely critical.
All right.
Like Aquila said, I really think crisis communications was helpful, because it's a part of PR that a lot of times people just kind of shy away from, or feel like they already know, and they're like, we're just going to throw some stuff at it. But there's so much more preparation than you can imagine that goes into it, and like thinking ahead of time and covering all your bases. So that was helpful for me, because unlike Aquila, I never dealt with anything like that. So it's helpful in really every area of life. But things that were helpful to me right now in my current job was the agency. The agency was very, very helpful, because it was like real life, real time experience. And we created a whole campaign that we got to do and evaluate. And writing along with that, we got to do a campaign of our choosing. And what was cool is that I actually got to pitch one of the campaigns that I created. It was for PR writing. to my current employer, and we're starting to implement that now. So that's a really, hold on to all your work, you guys, because you never know, you might be able to use it in your job. And I also, that was a campaign that I did I was interning with them currently, or at that time. And so my campaign was on them anyways. So, and social media was another good class that I really enjoyed. I forgot who it was by, and I don't know if it was just called social media. Do you guys know social media? And
was it social media for strategic communication?
Yes, that's the one. Yes, it was. I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. And I can't remember the professor now, but she was awesome too. So definitely, honestly, all of the PR classes will just be helpful because it's PR. and if you guys go into that field, there's going to be a gem to put to experience. Yeah, to real life experience. So it's cool.
Actually, I want to kind of piggyback off of what Beth was saying. There is an unofficial class that you all take that you absolutely need to take, and that is relationship building, understanding how to work with people in real time, face to face. A lot of times there's no app that's going to help you once you're out in the field working. You got to know how to work relationships and problem solve within those relationships.
I'm going to piggyback off of you now that there are several leadership classes. There used to be a leadership certification program at KSU, and they got rid of it. I'm not sure why, but a lot of those classes helped me, like leading in groups and just how to lead and how to listen and how to work with people. Basically, that is so essential in any area of life, really, but especially PR. So
they got rid of the certificate, but you can minor in leadership.
Oh, well, should have gone back for that. I have enough classes.
Thank you guys so much for that information. Yeah, that's, I mean, I can't imagine, what all you would learn in leadership classes that would just further the education in PR. So thank you for your thoughtful responses. It's super helpful. Okie dokie. So let's talk about plans that y'all made for after graduation. Did you stick to the plan? Did you veer off the path? What changed? What didn't?
Beth?
Me? Okay. Well, since I was already interning at the current job that I'm working at, it wasn't too much of a surprise. But what was a surprise is that I didn't just do public relations. It was a lot of integrated marketing and a little bit of sales and working with international clients. So sometimes there are language barriers. And since it's an ophthalmology industry that I'm working in, a lot of medical jargon that I'm like, what? Learning about the eyeballs and different surgical implants that we sell. So it's very interesting, and there is a big learning curve, but yeah, I didn't expect it, but I did at the same time. You know what I mean? It's like a slow realization.
Awesome.
I ran into Murphy's laws of war. No good plan survives first contact with the enemy. I am not where I wanted to be. I'm absolutely where I need to be because I'm in a dream job, and B, it gives me a really good base of bridging that military civilian gap. And I have a friend that's retiring out of the Army that wants to go into politics. So this is preparing me for that role.
That's awesome that y'all are using your networking to your ability now in your current positions and leveling up others, leveling up yourselves. That's awesome. And yeah, it seems that most of the time we make our plans and they don't always go the way that we hope. but I'm glad to hear that y'all are, where you want to be and where you feel like you need to be. That's awesome. Okay, so what is an unexpected skill that working as a PR professional has taught you?
I kind of cheated since I did this before, I kind of knew what I was getting into. Being able to do business with a smile, please, thank you, have probably been the most helpful things, the most helpful skills just in general, but really working in the political space, meeting, all these powerful people and not fangirling over them. They're people like everyone else. And I think that by itself is probably the most surprising skill I've been employing, at least in this job.
I'm thinking, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Nope, you
Oh
go ahead.
no, I'm
Beth.
good.
I think a skill that was unexpected is the amount of times that I've had to like step up and like do it myself or research or suggest stuff that I was like, I thought I was going to be really guided. And, there's a lot of things in PR that you're like, oh, there's a gap here. I should fill it. I should suggest this. And I think because the school is so structured, you have the outlines and everybody's here to help and all this stuff. Sometimes you got to do yourself, you have to research it yourself. You have to pitch it yourself. And I mean, it's great to have a network of public relations professionals who already have that and, experience. But sometimes it's almost like the mama bird throws a baby bird out there and you just got to learn how to fly. But it's in a way that's sometimes the best way to learn, because it's like sink or swim. You got to learn it. You got to figure it out. And then you master a lot of skills that way. And so, maybe the amount of, I'm trying to think of the word, stepping up you got to do or something like that, or taking responsibility.
Sure, absolutely. Aquila, have you found that in your career path as well, that sometimes you're not always as guided as you would hope? I'm in an internship right now with a marketing communications agency, and it's a very, very small team. And I report directly to the CEO. So sometimes she's so busy, I'm like, I'm not sure what to do or where to go. So, Aquila, have you found that in your career? And what advice would you guys have, for people like me or anyone else in the room or on Zoom who's kind of like, I'm a little scared?
Well, here's the thing. Life is scary.
Yes.
You never know what's going to happen until it happens. And that once you sort of willingly give up that control, things are a lot easier. I have the advantage of having just a long life before graduating college. So yeah, I definitely got the cheat codes. But in coming directly out of college and stepping into this role, I am the person that does the guiding. There's no one really guiding me. It's, hey, I need this done. I got to figure out how to do it. What are the first, second, and third order consequences? What is the law of unintended consequences? How can this go wrong? Yesterday afternoon, we were doing some opposition research and stumbled across an article about our opponent, Barry Loudermilk, getting into a car accident. We put out, it's like before I could really, fact check it, my boss had put out a tweet. The article was from 2017, so he had to go back and delete it. So sometimes you have to be the voice of patience, and things are not going to happen, as you like them all the time. And I think that was a great, it sounds really messed up, but I think I'm really thankful that that was a skill that being deployed to combat zones really gave me. Was you take it one step at a time, don't get ahead of yourself, and sometimes having the reflexes to react to contact are better than trusting the lieutenant with a compass.
So you're
And
saying
probably no one's getting that joke.
so you're just saying trust your instincts, essentially. In a sense.
Be informed.
Okay.
Use your knowledge base, use your wisdom base to inform your instincts, and you will be much more effective when the unexpected happens. You know how to do this. Have confidence in your skills and in your knowledge, and get mentorship. If you're 20, 21 years old and you're graduating college, make sure you reach out through LinkedIn, through PRSSA, get a mentor so that you can learn from their mistakes before you have to buy the sense with your own.
Aquila mentioned something very important, which is get a mentor. And I was going to add on, Lauren, I recommend, since you do work at such a small intern at such a small place right now, my company is very small too, and I report to the CEO. And tap into your resources. Like go back to professors. I email several of my professors to be like, what would you do in this situation? Yeah, definitely stay in touch with PRSSA and PRSA, because they are just a wealth of knowledge and people who are a lot more willing to help you out than you think.
Yeah, I have found that. I've wound up talking to Dr. Weed, Dr. Pettigrew, Debbie Weatherhead. Even though she left the institution, I'm still in contact with her. Most of your professors have at some point been industry professionals. Get on their calendar, make social contact with them, build the muscles of building relationships now before you're stumbling over yourself in the field.
Something cool is that Dr. Dawes just recently, I think most everybody knows, she just recently stepped down and started her own firm. And it's so cool to see how she's putting what she taught into real life situations. Like she's making cool blogs, and she has her own website, and just reading the blogs and seeing, oh, that's what a peer professional does sometimes. And maybe if you want to start your own firm, you can follow in her footsteps. So it's cool to learn from other people's experiences.
Thank you guys so much for those responses. That definitely gave us a lot of insights. Thank you. So then I just moved a button on this desk and it just dropped down. Okay. First meeting of the semester, guys. Right? That's just how it goes. Okay. Alrighty. So moving on to the next question. So this is kind of in the same vein, a little different. What's your best advice for securing an internship or a job before graduation?
I'm going to opt out of that one because I did not.
Okay, but hold on to that though, because we still want to hear what your advice would be, even if you, on the flip side, if you don't get a job after graduation immediately.
So I would definitely say get involved in student organizations like this one. Like PRSSA is such a huge resource. I know so many people got jobs at one of the speakers, Mary York Public Relations. And that was a cool network from Dr. V. That I was just talking to Dr. V. I was like, oh my gosh, Dr. V, I need a speaker for crisis, and do you have any ideas using your network? And then he suggested that one. And she's been such a help to so many students getting internships and then potential jobs. Honestly, any of the speakers, if they are in an industry or something that, you're interested in, reach out to them. PRSSA gives you emails, their contact information, follow them on LinkedIn, and you already have a step up since they know your face. If you interact in the meetings, there's another great organization called, oh my gosh, hold up. I got it. It's an app still on my phone. I'm not super involved in it now since I just have a job, but it's, you know what? I'm going to get back to you on that one. but it's a great networking organization where people from around the world internationally, they meet and on Zoom, and they get together and discuss certain topics. They have key speakers, kind of like
Okay.
What happened?
As, the lights are on motion sensor.
Oh, that's so funny.
We gotta have like 15-minute dance breaks, like or 30-minute dance breaks.
Yes.
Every meeting.
So definitely. And one point, never like do the best that you can at your job that you're doing right now, whether it's like customer service or being a barista. Just be kind to everyone, and because you never know, they might be your future employer. And for me, I was a barista, and one of my customers always got coffee, and I just struck up a conversation, and he ended up being my future employer. So do the best that you can at what you're doing right now, and you never know. You can also work on that personal brand, so you can be like, hey, this is what I do. But yes, network, branch out.
Okay, and Aquila, from your experience, what would be your advice for securing a job before, after graduation? Give us your thoughts.
It's easier to get a job when you have a job. I was using my GI Bill to pay for school, so I wasn't already working, and I had some pretty serious gaps in my professional history because of my time in the military and then coming out and not really having any jobs that really helped my resume. So that's been a hindrance. But also, another thing, if you're willing to take a chance, the military does have public affairs. That's what I did. They have it on both the enlisted and officer side of the house. In the Army, which is the branch that I was in, if you're an officer, you have to do, I think, 4 years in another branch. So within the Army, you've got the Quartermaster Corps, you've got artillery, infantry, cavalry. So you have to do time in one of those other branches, and then you get branch detailed to public affairs. If you want to get a nuts and bolts experience, you can enlist, and with a PR degree, you can probably go directly into the MOS. And you'll get sent, usually you won't be at anything below a brigade. So you get a lot of those strategic contacts. If I go back through my Rolodex for commanders and officers that I used to work with and work for, I've got one guy is my last brigade commander is the deputy commandant in the Corps of Cadets at Virginia Tech. I had several officers that I knew go to work at the Pentagon. In fact, at least two of the officers that I got to work with from different units are currently at the Pentagon. I got to meet, several general officers, one of whom is now the chief of staff for the Army. So if you go that route, you can make some amazing contacts. You just have to know how to play your cards. It is a rough job, but the experience and the networking, if you want to get into government and, public affairs.
Uh-oh. Wow. What a meeting, you guys. All right. Oh, no. What's going on here?
Oh, you froze.
Are we back? Oh, good. All right.
Did y'all hear any of that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I know you did, but Lauren.
No. to put it bluntly, no.
Oh, no.
Okay. Do you need Beth to answer again or just me?
Just you, Aquila.
All right. I apologize to those that weren't at the location. So
we got we got up to about the, taking a leap of faith, going into the military. You can probably get in straight into public affairs with a public relations degree. We got that part.
Okay, so I was just kind of, giving a 30,000 foot overview of the kind of people that I was able to network with. Just being an enlisted E5 sergeant at a brigade public affairs, I know at least 3 officers that went on to go work at the Pentagon. One of the guys that I worked with directly wound up is now the current chief of staff of the Army. So he's the senior officer for the entire Army. That would be General McConville. I have offshoots that went into government, some went into higher education. They're all over the map. And, I was able to get a reference from Colonel retired Alia, who is a deputy commandant at the Virginia Tech Corps of Cadets. So getting in that job and working those relationships and understanding how to interact with these people. And then you get out and you have all of these leadership skills. You have, you might have crisis communication skills. I hope not, because getting that really sucks. But you have the ability to work in all of these amazingly difficult circumstances. Pardon me, working in an office, that's going to be a cakewalk.
That's great advice. Okie dokie. So little off-topic question, but not really. It's more fun. If you weren't in the PR field, what field do you think you would be in or want to be in?
Me? Do you want to answer?
Whoever wants to go first.
I love this question. Lauren, your questions are awesome.
I can't take all the credit. Some e-board members, created some of these questions too, so I can't take all the credit.
That's great. That's awesome. I actually think I would go into psychology. I really love learning how people tick and just seeing sorry, that's my phone. Seeing the warning signs or seeing just everything about them and seeing what in PR, you almost got to be like, what baits them, what is the thing that interests your audience? And that knowledge of psychology in PR, I think that's what attracted PR to me, was that it's a lot about learning who you're working with, and also psychology of your coworkers, how you can be a better team, like how you can relate to people, and your boss, how you can pitch a better pitch to him, just relating it to him. That's almost like in a persuasion class too, you learn about your audience and whether they're hostile or passive or all that stuff. But I would definitely be a psychologist if I didn't, or maybe not a psychologist, just maybe something in psychology. I think it'd be cool.
I could see you doing that. Okay, Aquila?
Probably human resources.
Ooh, I could see that for you too.
My experience with the Army gave me a really good window into how to lead people when they're still wet behind the ears and they don't know what they're doing yet, and you can help them out. And that's one of the things that I miss most about the Army, is that aspect of mentorship.
So this just goes back to, your take on finding a mentor. So mentorship, it must be a big value for you.
It's huge, because there's a big need for it, especially, and I don't want to sound like I'm casting aspersions to Gen Z, but there's no substitute for the face-to-face relationships, yes, they're complicated. Yes, they're sticky and often fraught with problems. But the people that you create relationships enrich your life. You know, great example, my buddy Bostic. I met him as a PFC. He was my first NCO in the Army. And he's not the kind of person that I would ever interact with. He is this down-home country bumpkin from deep in the heart of Texas. But I found out, you know, through, you know, me playing classical music in the barracks, that he played French horn. And, you know, we would go on at length about classical music. He would teach me about fishing, long range marksmanship. We would go to the range together. And then, you know, just a couple of months ago, I got a random call from him saying that he had just adopted 3 kids.
Wow.
You know, those are the moments that you don't expect, that really bring value and light into your life. So having those relationships is absolutely, you know, if not at the top, you know, very near it for things that I would like to do.
That's wonderful. Well, that's good to hear as to what you could see yourself doing alternatively, but I'm glad you both are in the PR field. You belong in the field. Okay, so I know we kind of talked about oh my, Mary York. So this is in that same vein as this question. So are there any PR influencers that you follow that you would like to share about with us? Does that make sense? So
I follow Jenna Guarnieri. I think she follows, or a lot of KSU students follow her. I'm not sure why. I think it's something in the Instagram programming, but I came across her Instagram and she puts out some really good content. She's the CEO of JMG Public Relations. And she just, it's kind of a down to earth, just content that you can absorb and then you could probably reproduce. She uses a lot of different platforms like TikTok and just, she stays on top of the trends, and she hires a lot of our age interns and eventual employees. So it's cool to look at her employees and her interns and be like, oh, what does she look for in a future employee? You know, maybe I can add that to other PR firms that are looking for employees. And I think it's a great outlet that not a lot of people take advantage of, and being like, okay, that's how, you know, if you, and this is kind of off topic, but a great way to look for a job and to nail it is looking at their social media. And if they post stuff about the current interns, and then looking at those interns and saying, what do they do? You know, look up their like total stalking. Like, I'm serious, guys, stalking go a long way when you're looking for a job. And then just kind of pedaling forward on that and just going deeper. And then if you do get an interview, you know, just kind of being that person for the company, and also bringing your own side into it because creativity, I don't know if you asked this question, Lauren, but you did have a question about what the PR industry is lacking in, or what they need, high in demand or something like that.
yeah, skills that are high in demand.
Yes. And my thing would be creativity. I think just if you have your own spin and you can really say who you are as a brand and put a creative twist on that, I think that would take you so far. And look, just analyzing PR influences, to tie it back, PR influencers is huge because it can give you those skills that will set you up for success.
Awesome. Beth, the influencers that you mentioned, would you mind dropping just their names in the chat? Or
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, awesome. Thank you. And Aquila, do you have any PR influencers that you follow at all?
I actually do not. I don't do the stalking thing. It triggers something in my hindbrain that just, that's not something I do. I do follow some other business influencers. One of them is a trans woman, Gabrielle Claiborne. She built a business advising other businesses and corporations on the realities of being trans. So, I mean, that's right in my wheelhouse. You know, I have a lot of military influencers, government entities, just to keep those relationships alive. Now, one influencer I do recommend is this entity. I'm not sure if it's a singular person or if it's a group, but Doctrine Man. They have amazing tips on how to lead. They recently did an article on clearance jobs about what the spectrum of a toxic leader is. You know, from the most blatantly toxic, you know, through things that you might not expect, but would definitely, you know, have a negative impact on you as, you know, a member of a team. So that's kind of where I get my influencers. Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. Would you mind dropping their names or the account names, I guess, in the chat as well?
Yeah.
Just to spread all that information, the good stuff. So at this point, I'm at the end of my question list, so I'm going to open it up to the floor. Our people on Zoom, you're more than welcome to drop some questions into the chat. Anybody out here? Y'all got questions for Aquila or Beth, or both? Favorite professors here? Or maybe if we don't want to pick favorites, or if we don't want to pick favorites, like maybe like, I don't know, if professors that impacted you the most or stuff like that.
Oh gosh.
You know, the professors that that impacted me the most were Dr. Vizcarrondo, Debbie Weatherhead. In fact, she was the first PR instructor that I had at Kennesaw. You know, unfortunately, she left to go back to the private sector, but she brought a realism to her classes that is often lacking. Dr. V, you know, his sense of humor and mine, very, very close. So that, you know, kept me engaged in his classes. And Dr. Pettigrew was about as real as you can get. So yeah, those are my top three in no particular order.
Dr. Pettigrew was awesome. Honestly, all the public relations faculty is just so good. They're just awesome. And they all have different dynamics that they bring to each class. But I've known most all of them are flexible and willing to just help with whatever. Like they're always, you know, you want to speak in a class, totally come to my class and speak at it, you know. And I love that about them. But some in particular, Dr. Vizcarrondo is so funny. He is a very interesting person, and he'll let you know what he thinks about you. And at the end of the agency, he gives you some constructive criticism. And let me tell you, they're constructive criticism, but they are advice that I just took to my job and took in relationships. And it's so good. Like he's a hard professor, but he's a good one. Like some of the hardest professors that you might not be like, oh, they're, you know, they can be a little mean sometimes, but if you stick to it and, you know, put up your britches and go with it, you can learn so much. trying to think another professor. Oh, there are so many. I've never been in Dr. Weed's class, but she's awesome and she's a great resource.
She's amazing. Oh, and speaking of which, Dr. Weed isn't feeling well, and she wants to say hi through me. But yeah, she wishes she could be here with y'all. So
okay, good. She has so much experience, and if anybody taught me that research is important, it's Dr. Weed. And seriously, every day I'm like, why are my plans working out how I wanted them to? Why isn't this campaign going? I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have researched it a little more. So, and then Dr. Pettigrew, again, awesome, really cool guy. He's just, it really tells you how it is. He's so flexible. He's probably the most flexible and willing professor to just jump on any plan that you have that I've ever had in KSU. And let me see another one. Dr. Pauline House. Yes. She is so sweet. Like you don't mistake her sweetness for like lackadaisical on the test and grading, because she's not. But she is so willing to just help you out with whatever your problems, and she will be a stickler for grammar and anything related to PR writing. And then lastly, I'm probably missing so many, but there are so many good professors. Dr. Oh my gosh, Dr. Dawes. She's awesome. I never had her as a professor, but I've spoken in her classes and I've talked with her on separate occasions. And she's also a wealth of knowledge, and she's very down to earth, and she's got her rules and she sticks to it, and she sets those boundaries in her life, and she's a really cool person. Yep.
Awesome. And Dr. Dawes is the one that recently stepped down to open up her own PR agency, right?
Yes. Yes,
Awesome.
yes, yes. So I'm sorry you can't take your class, but she was pretty awesome. And I'm sure if you just connected with her on LinkedIn and told her that you're a student, she'd just be willing to connect with you.
You know, two more additions to my top three, and surprisingly, they're not in the PR department. Dr. Laura Smith-Sitton over in the English department. If you get a chance, take her for professional editing. And just, even if you do nothing else, make sure that you get that class in your curriculum. It is absolute. I find myself reaching for that book more times than I'd like to admit. Also, I took Professor Green over in the English department for workplace writing. Make sure you also get that so that you know how to write in a business environment. You're going to need that, especially when you have to write like a proposal or a memo because something went sideways. Yeah, make sure you have those skills.
Awesome. All right. Do we have another question here, or questions on Zoom? Any questions in here, y'all? Don't be shy. Yeah. I don't know if y'all heard that. Favorite thing about attending KSU?
I'll let Beth go, and then I'll tackle that one.
I love college just because it's a great place to get to know people and work together on projects. And I know group projects sometimes suck, but sometimes they are really valuable, and just how to work in a team and getting to know the professors and seeing how they eventually will help you in the long run in life. And sometimes you can even help them. Like I on my side thing is I love to paint, and I've had several professors I've done commissions for, or I've given them, things if their pet passed away. I do a lot of pet portraits, but it's just cool to stay in contact with them. And I love the relationships that you get at college that honestly, you can't really get anywhere else. Like there's not really an area where you're forced to be with the same group of people for 4 months, and have to work together, and it's besides work, but every semester you get a different group of people, and it's just an area where you can network so much more and build those relationships and get those skills.
Yeah. Like you, Beth, my best experience was actually a group project in crisis, my group project in crisis comms. That was absolutely amazing. Yeah.
What was the project? Give us some insight.
So my group, we had to create a crisis communications plan, and our crisis was a terrorist attack at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. And the amazing thing was, like, my teammates literally kicked me off of everything that I would have written because I had already been through multiple crises, and they used me as a sounding board, as a source of information to reword things. So I was herding the cats. But my absolute favorite thing about being at KSU was the ability to reconnect with a sense of youth. You know, I came to KSU right before my 45th birthday. And, you know, when you're in your mid to late 40s, it's easy to lose track of what it's like to be young and, you know, how much fun it is. And that's what I really like about KSU. Kitty tax.
Sorry, he was meowing at me like crazy. I'm like, it's
okay. So, you know, that, and, you know, being able to interact with the veteran community at KSU was really fulfilling for me.
Awesome.
Get into those groups, you guys. They're so good.
Yep.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna leave it up to you. Do we have one more question for our panelists, or do you want to ask them for last words and advice? Call it out. Don't be shy. We're on Zoom. Okay. All right. Everyone wants to hear your last piece of advice or your last words for our alumni panel meeting tonight. Whoever wants to start.
Networks are key. Just keep doing, honestly, get involved in PRSSA. Like, seriously, try to join the e-board. And then once you're on the e-board, like, show that you're capable of being, you know, promoted to the next level and to the next. And honestly, it's not really like a promotion. It's just, you get different real life experiences. And when I know that there was a position that I held one time that I was kind of like, oh, I'll just let the people do it. But I got so much out of it when I was like, what can I do? You know, how can I make this better? And just kind of make it your own. So whatever, if you're in a group, especially this one, offer to help, offer to learn, just dig deep into it, because you can get so much out of it. I promise you, it's really cool. And you can put it on your resume. Looks great on your resume. And yeah, lots of networking.
Also, when you become a member, you get a t-shirt. I'm just saying, it's free. So
that's pretty cool. I have one in my closet.
Same here. You know, my final statement is relationships. That they will make or break you, and learn how to not only manage down but manage up, because oftentimes the people you call managers are in your same age group or experience group, and they may not know what they're doing. You bring, and also know what value you bring to the table, whether it's a new perspective or, you know, a certain talent, you know, learn how to read tone of voice, body language. Those are the things that will actually tell you what someone is saying over their words. The words may lie, the body will never.
I want to say one more thing, but don't be afraid to offer your skills to a really small business that has no idea what the heck public relations is, and just to provide some help. You can get real world experience, and you can add it to your resume. And it might not be perfect. You might not make them a multi-billion-dollar company, you know, the next year, but you get to practice trial and error in a low risk environment and get to get your hands dirty and things that maybe at a big, huge corporate firm you would not be able to do. So definitely don't overlook those small businesses, and because that's where you can really get to wear a lot of hats and you get a lot of experience.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so very much. Aquila, thank you for dropping that in the chat. I'm going to pull up the chat for you guys to see real quick. Dr. Mann, that is what Aquila is talking about. So if you want to take pictures of that or whatnot. Okie dokie. Now,
or just reach out. You're always, my email is always open.
ooh,
Send me a message.
LinkedIn, please.
Me too.
Drop your LinkedIn, please, if you can. And then after that, we'll get a picture, and I'm gonna ask if y'all are comfortable, y'all can kind of crowd around me if you want, and we'll take a picture through this device here.
Trying to pull up my LinkedIn because I can't remember.
Good. So we got Aquila's LinkedIn. So I'll give you all time to take pictures of that, and then right over here, and we'll get a picture. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. For those of you on Zoom, we are going to take a picture. So it's your call or not. If you want to turn your cameras on, or if you just want your icon or your name to be up, then that would be good. And I'll let y'all know, and we'll take the picture. It'll probably be in the next minute or so. Yep. So we've got Aquila's LinkedIn and email. Same for Beth right here. So if y'all want to take pictures of that, give y'all some time here. And I promise I won't hold you past 5 minutes over. I promise.
Here, let me get my link. I'm sorry. That's not, I just put my name in there, but there we go. Okay, there's my LinkedIn. Okay, good.
Awesome. Scroll up. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure thing. Here, I can do that. Does that help? Okay, good. Full screen mode. All right. Everybody got their pictures of screen. All right. If y'all want to kind of come on in to this screen here. I'm a little bit of a grandma with text. How do y'all do this? You do the window sign and print screen. Is that it? Let's do a screenshot. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with y'all? Okay. All right. Come on over here, y'all. I'm gonna squat. Okay. Everybody in? Everybody stays good? Okay. Everybody in. All right. Okay. 3, 2, 1. I think I did it, maybe. It's okay. I'll pull it from the phone too. Oh,
I'll always have the recording.
Yeah, well, and it's recording too. So, okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Everybody wave. Wave. Thank y'all. Hopefully we'll be connecting with you soon. Have a great rest of your evening. We're so happy to call y'all alumni.
Yep.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having us. Bye.
Bye. Thank y'all.